Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first episode of BUZZED for the semester. I am Mercy Sosa, your digital editor, and I am here with
Jordan Parker, editor-in-chief.
Magaly Muñoz, managing editor.
Kaylin Flatland, audience engagement editor.
Camryn Dadey, news editor.
So, Camryn, what are your thoughts on astrology?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I only recently got into astrology maybe a couple of years ago because one of my friends was really into it. I think it's really interesting. I think it's a good way to kind of see how you might vibe with people before you really know them. If you just ask there's your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. So I think it's a good way just to kind of see what you think people might be like and kind of fit people into a little bit our signs are supposed to be friends, so we might be really good friends. Kind of just easy stuff like that.
As for me, I feel like over time, every time, when I meet people and stuff, it's fun. It's a fun way to get to know people, and it's a fun way to, kind of break the ice when it comes to learning about yourselves and learning about other people, and kind of seeing, like Camryn said, about, how you vibe with people and that kind of a thing. And yeah, I think it's just a good icebreaker, and I think it's a good icebreaker and a good way to get to know people.
I agree. I got into astrology when I was in high school, and I was just bored, had nothing better to do. So I was just very intrigued by the whole idea of this sign, basically specifies who you are as a person. And at first I was like, nah, this has to be some bullshit. The skeptical in me, or the skeptic in me was like, no, this isn't real. But once you start learning more about it, not that I think it's 100% true or whatever, because I'm not 100% a believer in astrology, but it's definitely something that I think, it's fun to explore aspects of your personality. So that's what I like about astrology, and that's how I got into it. What about you, Magaly?
For me, the first time I ever really paid attention to it was someone was like, oh my god, you're such an Aries, and I was like, I don't know what that means, so I had to look it up, but all I read was the negative traits, and I was like, oh, okay, well, what is this, what do you mean by that? But I think that's where I started, just kind of I kind of do fit this personality, kind of loud and argumentative, I do the arguing thing a lot, so I was like, okay, that kind of fits my traits, but also I'm not a full believer in it, because technically mine and Kaylin's signs, she's a Cancer, I'm an Aries, we're not supposed to get along, but we do. We get along really, really well. So I'm just I believe in it, but then there are some things where I'm that's not 100% true. Okay. And there we go with Jordan.
I'm as close to a non-believer as you're ever going to get on this. Now, yeah, Magaly brought up a good point. You and Kaylin not supposed to get together, right? That's why it doesn't work. You cannot look at somebody's sign and be like, well, look, this person's a Cancer. Like when I met Camryn, I was like, oh, Cameron's a Pisces. Oh, but I don't like her, because she's that. You cannot meet somebody, I've never met somebody and looked up their sign and then it was like, yeah, I'm not going to be friends with you. Or, yeah, I'm going to be friends with you. You cannot do that. That's something in the sky, just magically tells you, well, I know I'm going to get roasted for this. I see it on your faces. But just let me say, how can you just look something up on the internet? It tells you one thing and it's oh yeah, well that makes sense. It makes sense that person's that way. Everybody is unique in their own ways, but I don't think it's determined by their sign.
No, so here's the thing with Kaylin, is that Kaylin has even specifically told me, Cancers are sensitive. She is very sensitive. That's where I don't get along with them, because I very just I don't want to deal with that stuff as an Aries. So that but overall, as a person, me and her get along.
Well, what if Kaylin is just sensitive? Everybody's sensitive.
No, a lot of the Cancers that I've met are really sensitive, in tune with their emotions type of feelings.
It's true. And with Magaly, honestly, when I first met you, you not to play that card, but you were such an Aries, and I was like, oh, she's kind of intimidating, I was like, you know what you want, and I feel like you have a very strong personality, and so normally, people with overly strong personalities make me kind of nervous or make me feel kind of inferior, but we vibe, and yeah.
I was starting to get scared that they really don't get along.
Some uncovered truth right now. Yeah. It's actually, Kaylin, now that we're on the subject.
I feel like astrology is kind of just like every other personality test you take. Like it's like what Hogwarts house are you in or kind of stuff like that. It's just like a way to kind of get to know people, and maybe they don't fit exactly. Like you guys still really get along, but then maybe that's like different signs in your chart that make you guys get along because you match really well somewhere else, not in your sun sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's gonna be extremists. There's gonna be the people that are like, I hate this sign and I will never interact with them. But like then there's others that like are not like that at all. So I think you're talking more about those kind of people that really take it super seriously. I think some people just like to look at it and like to see if you actually are your sign or not.
Which you are.
Well, hold on. And Mercy brought up a good point. Like those extremists. Like there are people out there that are on Twitter and they're like, oh, if I ever see this type of guy again, I will never date that sign ever again. How could you say that about a person? Like, you cannot prejudge somebody, once again, on a sign. Like, they are their own person, separate from whatever day they were born. And
But if the traits match up, the traits match up.
Oh,
If the traits match up and you've repeatedly had the same experience with somebody, like multiple people who are the same sign, then I feel like it falls into a pattern. And you can say if you want to that you don't want to like be friends with or date somebody of that specific sign because you've had a repeated experience.
So do you have to date the same sign over to establish a pattern, or is it just after the first time?
Well, if it really sucks the first time, then I feel like it's fair to say that. But you might also just know friends that act the same way. It doesn't have to be dating. Like if you know somebody, multiple people that have the same sign and you really don't vibe with them, then you can be like, okay, not my favorite. And you don't have to make all your friendship decisions off of it. But if you meet somebody and you're like, I don't know what I think about them, you could be like, oh, well, maybe they're going to fit into this pattern. They're already fitting into this pattern. They're not like, maybe we don't vibe that well based on their sign.
Well, I'm curious here. Who am I not supposed to vibe with here out of this group?
That's a good
Should
question.
we look it up?
Yeah.
All right, let's look it up.
But it's not always accurate, too, like exactly what I said. Like, one sign that I don't like, I'm supposed to vibe really well with. And in my experience, that is not the case.
What sign?
Oh, that would be Taurus. I do not vibe with them. But Geminis, I'm not supposed to vibe with, and I also do not vibe with. So it's accurate there.
Well, how many Geminis have you met?
Multiple. It's accurate.
Just give them a chance.
No, I'm good.
Third time's the charm.
No, it would be way past third at this point. It's okay.
and then people have like multiple signs in their chart. So you're not just one sign. We looked at your chart and you have like what?
20 signs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they each reflect different aspects of you.
So according to Google.
What a source. Wow. Is that peer reviewed?
I like how she still cited it like very journalistically accurate though, according to
I
Google.
want to know though.
The lowest Aquarius compatibility is with Pisces,
Oh, no
Cancer,
Oh,
and Capricorn.
No wonder she's my greatest
Oh,
rival.
it makes
I
sense.
knew
See, it makes sense. So it
Camryn.
makes sense. You just admitted it makes sense.
But
Interesting.
we're like rivals but friends.
Yeah, it's like
so
a
it's like
joking
it's not like
thing.
it's not like I hate her.
he's trying to backtrack his answer. You see that?
Yeah.
See, because you're trying to get me in a trap where
You
I
put
try
yourself
to
in a
admit-
trap.
You put yourself in there.
No. See, Camryn and I, we get along really well, but we have these moments where it's like rivalry, and we want to like.
Exactly.
I know, but see, so it doesn't match. If I'm supposed to not be compatible,
There's a spectrum. There's a spectrum.
What
You have to add in
spectrum?
your rising sign, your moon
Oh my
sign.
God.
That plays into your personality.
that's too many variables.
Exactly, and that's what makes people so complex.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
looking up our
That was
brand
so deep.
compatibility, and it makes a lot of sense, actually.
Okay, what does it
Aquarius
say?
and Aries love to debate. Aquarius will keep
man.
things at a practical and rational level, while Aries will take it to a more passionate level. Aquarius both have temper, so just watch out for that.
Yikes. We've had some fiery debates over the years.
So we get along really well. That's what it says. It's like they're better friends as like anything else. So maybe that's just how it's gonna work.
But I
Like,
don't
me
get
and
along
you.
with Cancers either. I'm friends with
But we're
Kaylin.
supposed to get along, Aries and Aquarius.
Well, I get along with everybody. That's the point.
I mean, we did come up with the idea for the astrology debate. So, I mean, there you go. You got a little...
That's a debate.
It's a debate.
What's a debate?
This podcast.
Well, I know that. What are you saying? Because we came up with the idea for a
Yeah.
debate.
You
There's
were
some
the one
conflict
that
there.
was
There's
like,
conflict. There's debate.
It's just a small disagreement.
Or
Not
is
everything is going to be a monumental disagreement. In terms of zodiac, sometimes it can be if you just meet someone that you're like really just not vibing with, and it's like, okay, well, they match up with the person that I'm not supposed to like really get along. Like, that makes sense. I've definitely had those experiences, like the Cancer experience, like that. Like meeting Kaylin was like a completely different thing because I was like, mostly Cancers and we just don't get along. Like, I cannot do the whole sensitivity thing.
Okay, but so when you met Kaylin, right? So we all met each other at the beginning of the semester. So you meet Kaylin, you talk to her. What do you do first? Do you introduce yourself? And then it's like, the next question is like, what is your sign? Oh, Cancer? Oh my God, I'm not going to interact well with that
That
person.
literally was one of our
That-
first
that was the
interactions.
conversation.
It really was, yeah.
I don't
It
understand
was.
how you can just go straight from like, oh, I just met you, and then it's like, oh, what's your sign?
That's literally
what
how
we
conversations
did.
with
Uh-huh.
girls happen a lot. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, what's your sign? Like, especially if you get along with that person, you kind of want to know, like, oh, are we like meant to get along? So it was a little weird when we were like,
Yeah,
oh,
the
wait, you're a
universe
Cancer.
wants you to get along if you get along.
Can we talk about that though? How it's mostly like a girl thing, like
Yes, let's
from
talk
what I've
about it.
noticed. Like,
Yeah.
why do guys not really interact with the whole idea of astrology?
Because we don't care enough. Like, we don't
Care about what?
like, meaning like, you know how like you'll go on social media and like people will post their thing for the day and like what it says about them and how their day is supposed to go. Guys don't care enough about that stuff to like look that up, research, and like analyze it. You know, guys, we're lazy. We don't like, we're not like, we have other, like, we'd rather play some video games than like go on Google and like, what's my day supposed to look like today? Oh,
well,
Not that you're doing much for
Yeah.
your
Right.
This
Fantastic.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
painted
I'm
picture.
not. I looked it up before. Let me just say, but like, I don't know. It's just so like, it's not something like guys. I don't think wake up and just think about like, oh, like, let's just research what I'm supposed to be doing today, or like how I'm supposed to interact with people.
Well,
But
I
I feel
think
like if you did, you'd see that, like, in some cases, like, it would fit. Like, if you're in a weird mood, like, maybe your
But-
sign is, like, in a weird place. Like,
But when I wake up, I feel like this great aura, and then I just go, I go about my day, and when I come here and interact with everybody, I have a great time. So it's like I never think about whether or not somebody's sign is negatively impacting me.
Maybe you should.
Maybe you should. That's a great question. That's a great point. Oh man. Well, like, Kaylin is a Cancer and I'm a Pisces, and like
Okay.
water signs get along really well. So like when I first met you, we were talking about like what signs you were.
Yeah.
And when you said you were a Cancer, I was like, well, my best friend is a Cancer, like my sister has a Cancer rising. So like that's a good predictor of like we're gonna get along really well, just based on like I don't know you that well yet, or like at the beginning of the semester I didn't, but just talking about signs, I was like, okay, we'll get along really well.
And we
Because
both
of
have
your
like
sign.
that emotional like side where we're able to just kind of like vibe that way. You know what I mean? We know
Oh my
like.
God. It's just
it's like allergic to
funny.
him. He starts
Yeah.
itching every
Like,
time we
keep
start
that
talking
away
about
from
it.
me.
It's funny because I've never really known any Pisces, but I've always told my best friend, I've always been like, oh my God, I want to meet like more Pisces because I knew I would get along with them.
See, look.
And I did.
Jordan is looking at us so confused.
I am confused. It's just like I never sit down and just think about. I don't know. Out of all the friends I've had, I never sat down and separated them into their little groups based on their sign and be like, well, I need to meet more of this and I need to meet more of that. Because then again, how can I seek out those people anyways? Even if I did say, oh, I wanted to meet more Pisces, I can't just like magically snap my fingers and like everybody I walk up to is a Pisces. Like, what's your birthday? Pisces, great, we're friends now.
That's what we did.
When did this occur? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, so Kaylin, you walk up to Camryn and like Pisces.
We
is great.
literally were all sitting in this room and at the table, and we were like, "What's your sign? What's your sign?" You know, you just got to get to know. him.
I
And that's
don't-
probably how this all started, was that
Mhm.
Yeah.
conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were the guys guys not here for this? Because I don't know. Like, yeah.
They
See,
were,
Max.
but you're the only
Max
one that's
shaking
gonna
his
talk
head.
up and be like, "Oh, well, that sounds ridiculous." Like that's literally what you do. So it's like
ridiculous.
John was sitting over there. I'm sure Nigel
John
was
agrees
there.
with me.
No, I don't
John's not
think
here
he
to
does. John's
defend
not here
you,
to defend
so-
himself or
He
to say
agrees with
anything
me.
Other
else.
guy editors thought it was interesting though. Like
Mhm.
they were like, "Oh,
No.
what's my birth
Yeah,
chart?"
it's just the guys. We were here for this, but we don't engage with that.
Also,
Maybe
many of
you
the guys
do.
are Scorpios, so I'm just gonna throw that out there.
That is very incorrect. Man.
John's
Yes.
a Scorpio, Nish is a Scorpio, Eric is a Scorpio.
Whoa, what are you
and
saying
so
about
is,
Scorpios?
Someone else is a fourth person.
That means that they keep their opinions to themselves. They're low key.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Which is true. Typically in those situations, they're the guys who are kind of like just there, like passive in those conversations.
But
Whereas
they take it
you-
all in because
Yeah,
it's still
'cause
water
they're water
signs.
signs.
So every guy except for Mac and I are Scorpios.
No, we have a lot of Gemini guys too.
Yeah.
Alex is a Gemini. I can't remember who else.
Michael?
James.
I can't remember.
I
but
don't
yeah.
know any of these people's signs.
Well, see, we asked. We even put it in the birthday spreadsheet.
We did, huh?
We did
And
because it's
did people
important to
fill it
know.
out?
Some people did. It's important to know, in my opinion.
I agree.
Well, at least I'm not a bad sign, so.
Well, see, that's up to everybody to look at their personal compatibility.
No.
Yes.
No.
See, apparently you don't vibe with me and Kaylin, so that probably means on our list it says we don't vibe with you.
But do we not vibe? See, that's what I'm trying to get you to say.
But
Greatest rivals.
Yeah, that's.
That's not true though, because we are greatest rivals for like 30 seconds, and then after that, it's over.
You started the greatest rivals thing, so maybe somewhere in your chart it
I
says that
think
you're an
you did.
instigator.
You
Those
did.
words never came out of my mouth.
You
Never,
definitely-
not once.
You
I need.
definitely- You definitely did,
eyewitnesses here.
Cameron. You were starting that because in all of these competitions we're in, you were starting it.
How? I never uttered the words greatest rival
You
until
did.
you did.
Yankees fan, I knew it.
Oh.
I should have
And
known.
you guys call me
Well, at least I beat you in
instigator.
fantasy
Oh my
football.
God.
That's.
Well, you're not gonna beat me at the end, are you?
We'll see about that.
And then the
Well,
Aquariuses will rue the day.
You're the Aquarius. Why would you rue the day if you won?
I don't know. I just wanted to say that.
Oh my god.
Isn't that what Neville said on iCarly?
This feels like
Is that where you got it from?
Yeah, I just imagine when he put his hand up like, we'll rue the day.
That's the only reason you said it.
We could be greatest rivals and still be great friends as we've demonstrated.
That's very true, but maybe it's somewhere in our sign somewhere that we're
So I
our
need to go
chart that we're
find it?
super compatible, but then we're competitive.
Yep.
Maybe that's something in there.
That's the word, competitive.
competitive.
Me and Kaylin, we get along well. We don't fight.
That's good.
Not yet.
Hey.
Did you see that look?
How about Mercy? Yeah, Mercy, what is
Mercy's
your
a
sign?
Leo.
I'm a Leo.
Oh,
I love
that's,
Leos.
See, that's,
Me too.
That's
Ugh.
unique. I don't hear that one that often.
Yeah, we're pretty like out there. We're supposedly very warm, very social, very
Yeah.
loud.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but I also have a Cancer moon, so it kind of like balances it out. You know, I'm also
So
very
you're
emotional.
A sensitive social person.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
That
pretty
makes sense.
accurate. I feel like
Pretty
that's
accurate,
you.
yeah.
That fits you.
yeah. And then I also have an Aries rising, so
And that is what
yeah.
Yeah. See, and I have a Leo rising, so that's how we get along.
Yeah, see, so like we all have like different signs that like, you know, are similar to each other, so that's why I think we all do get along at the end of the day.
But when are we going to talk about how our signs are changing now? Apparently,
I don't know if
That
that's
is-
really a thing.
I saw
Actually,
that picture.
you sent that, and I'm still a Cancer, even if it changed.
And I'm still a Pisces.
I
so-
wouldn't be. I would
Mine
be.
change to a Pisces. which
Join
I-
the club.
No.
Oh,
I'm an
Pi-
Aries.
So I'm good.
Pisces are judged heavily.
I can. Yes, they are judged heavily, but they're.
Mac
and
is
you're-
behind
Mac
the
is
camera,
nodding
like,
his head
yeah.
off camera.
We're the only Pisces in the state Hornet, or at least in the editors. but you have a Pisces moon.
We need a
Me?
camera on
Yes,
Mac.
you have a Pisces moon. We just
Is
did this.
that why we get along?
Maybe that's why we get along pretty well.
Is that why Mac and I get
Synergy.
along? Our Pisces moons interacting with
No,
each
we're
other?
Pisces suns. You have a Pisces moon.
So the moon and sun interact?
So like your moon is like your inner emotions, and your rising is like what you present to other people as when you meet them for the first time. So your inner emotions are more like Pisces vibes, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And
that's
Pisces
interesting.
are very emotional too,
Very,
aren't they?
yeah.
You guys know more about that, but
No, yeah, I would say they are, but I feel like that comes into play because like my moon is in Virgo, so like my emotions, and I'm not always like super emotional. But since I do have a Pisces
I
sun, it
think
does
you're
come in
kind of
there.
cutthroat.
but I was about to say that that's why she's news editor, because she
she's
gets
Virgo?
things done. I always think of Beyonce when I think of Virgos, to be honest.
Oh, I love that.
Is that why you have a stick?
You know who's a Pisces though? Rihanna. And I love Rihanna.
Well, what does that mean? Of course you love Rihanna. She's a celebrity.
Yeah, but she's
You don't have to
also
love
But-
Rihanna because she's a celebrity.
Yeah.
I know,
Other
but like
terms.
nobody really nobody gets to know her personally, so it's not like you can make a judgment on her.
But that's what astrology is. You can be like, oh, Rihanna's a Pisces, I'm a Pisces. Like we connect in that
Oh
way.
wait!
Exactly.
That is so theoretical. It's
That's
not
the
even
point.
funny.
Everything is
Wait.
theoretical.
No, but like, would you ever meet Rihanna? And then what if you didn't like her in person? Would you ever be like, I don't like Rihanna because she's a...
That's when you can blame it on her rising or her
Or her moon.
sign.
See, it's just
Exactly.
too theoretical, not an exact science.
Nothing's an exact science. Nothing like your Hogwarts houses or like any other
Hogwarts.
Yeah, like these are just like any like personality test that you take. They're just kind of like except that you don't like take a test for this one. You're just like born with it whatever time you were born. It's just kind of like fun things to base off your interactions with people.
Well, then it must suck for people that just get born into a shit sign.
Like what? What do you, in your opinion? What in your
yeah,
opinion are
what's
shit
your-
signs?
Oh, I don't know. I want to hear from you guys. I'm not really.
I've
too-
already
Do we
said.
just go around and say our
Yeah.
personal shit signs?
I mean, I already kind of said, but my least favorite personally, I would say Taurus and Gemini. But I do like some Geminis in the State Hornet, so I can't say I dislike all of them.
I love Magaly, but normally Aries is not it for me.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go specific with this one, but Leo men.
Oh.
Yeah. No,
For
I
me,
sh-
it's Libra men.
I second that.
cannot, will
I'll
not,
second
just
that.
too many bad experiences.
I don't know mine.
No, I should be specific. I mean Taurus men and.
Whoa!
And Gemini
We're all
men.
just like men.
Hey, why is it the men?
It's
I-
always the men.
It's
It's always
the
the
men.
men.
No,
It's
is
always
this
the
women
men.
against the everybody?
I'm just saying, we asked what signs we don't vibe with most, and my personal
But
experience.
okay, the
those are-
sign. I didn't say like the gender.
But I love
Well,
some
because,
Taurus
yeah.
women and Gemini women. I'm just being specific here that it's the men.
I second that because Taurus men are so hard-headed and so just
Stubborn, aggressive
stubborn,
sometimes.
aggressive.
Lazy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Seeing a Taurus hater.
So you guys
See,
are
because
Taurus
that's for water
haters.
signs.
Yeah.
We both hate the Taurus.
Well, no offense to like men, but I feel like sometimes they get
Wait. So that means all offense, right?
no, but I feel like sometimes they get like the negative aspects of signs, which is why I think we're more like specifically focusing on like the men's side of like each sign. Like Leo men for me, like they're too cocky and too like
Right.
rambunctious.
But are
and
Leo
stuff.
women that way?
Not really. Like we're more fun. I'm a little, you know,
So let me-
biased with this one, but we're more fun. Like we're like a good time.
So
I
let
mean,
me get
Kylie
this
Jenner.
straight.
Kylie Jenner is
Kylie
a
Jenner is a
Leo.
Leo,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
And you know,
So let me get this
get
straight.
shit done.
Let me get this straight. The women of every side get the benefit of the doubt, but if it's men,
We have our negative traits, but it's men that somehow seem to just suck all the negativity from those negative traits and just use it against women, like Libra men specifically. Like they're just so
I
nonchalant,
don't
they
think
don't
men. I don't.
care.
Okay, wait. I don't think men use it. Like you make it sound like a weapon. Like we don't use it.
No,
Like,
but
fit
I'm
the
just
negative
saying they
aspects of
fit
the
it
sign.
so well.
Yep.
but it's not their fault that they've gained those aspects.
They're born that way.
And then they choose to continue to act that way.
But it's still just not their
And I think it goes back to because you guys don't look at it.
You're lazy.
Exactly.
You don't choose to
You're the
change
one that
that
brought up
stuff.
the laziness in men. You said that we don't want to look
so
at
many
it.
things to do in a day, and I don't like wake up.
I have
And
a lot of
changing your
things to do
personality
too, but
to be more positive is not one of those.
working
like,
on yourself
I already
should be
have a
important.
Being
positive
introspective. When do you take time to look
I
within?
always I do that. I just do it
Cancer
on a
man.
different. I do it
a
like
therapy session. When do you take time to look?
When do you
at
take
yourself?
time for yourself,
like at
Jordan?
night. Like I take time to really reflect on my days.
Do you
That's
really?
But I just don't look. I don't look at it as a Aquarius perspective. I just look at it as a human being perspective.
But you are an Aquarius.
Why
so
don't you
are
try?
looking at it from
Why don't I
Aquarius'
try?
Yeah, why don't you try for like a week? Like download one of those astrology apps and
But
look.
It's not like interesting.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
But you don't know that until you try. Like you don't know. Maybe something's gonna come up and you're like, oh wait, that actually did reflect like what I got sent this morning, or like, okay, I was in a bad mood and it did make sense. Like you don't even know yet.
But it's the app. Every app can tell me something different. I might as well download like 100 apps and see which one gives me the most accurate reading.
That sounds like a fun science experiment.
I think you should use daily horoscope.
I
Not to throw a plug
I've
in here,
I've-
but it's
I've
great.
used that one
The
before.
little like
It's
the,
dumb.
It resonates with me.
No, you
It
have to
always
do
gives me
co-star and
good
the
things.
pattern.
Yeah, those are the two best ones.
Oh, yeah.
The pattern.
I'll get you signed up.
Yeah.
They're fun though because then you get to learn more about yourself, and then like if you
I
ever want to
do
learn
learn
about
about-
somebody you just met, you go put them on there and
I
see
do
your
learn about
compatibility.
people. I analyze their actions and I learn about them that way.
And maybe their actions are reflective of their zodiac signs.
But I don't want to look at the zodiac sign and be like, well, makes sense.
Is that because you're a man? You just don't want
Or
to
is
look.
that because you're
Oh
an
my
Aquarius?
gosh.
All right, thank you everyone for coming today. I think we accomplished a lot, and Jordan is actually gonna go look at his chart for Camryn. So thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening and watching.